Hey everybody, Patrick with Slightly Buzzed Beeworks. We're at the Shope Farm Apiary in Pittsburgh, North Carolina, and today we're going to be doing a hive inspection on this hive. We haven't done an inspection on video for the Pittsburgh Apiary just yet, but I do want to go ahead and do a quick inspection, which I'll put on video, and then afterwards I'm going to go ahead and do a hyperthermia treatment for the mites because the hive does need it, and we just want to go ahead and take care of it. I am seeing a bit of activity here at the gate, which is pretty cool. We got bees coming in and out, and they're very interested in me right now because I'm usually not here. But I did see a couple bees just going in and out with some pollen, so that's good. Hopefully we'll find a good bit of honey store, a good bit of pollen store, at least nectar, pollen, and hoping we can either sight the queen or at least find some eggs that she's been laying. So let's go ahead and knock on the door and get into the hive. Just let them know we're coming. Okay. Yeah, they've been gluing things down pretty tight. Let me get my hive tool out here. Okay, there we go. Must have been just that end. Things are looking good here. Let's see. And just like the hive in Raleigh, I put a couple used frames in here that had some comb built out. I just want to see if they've been building anything, and typically they'll work on the ends first, but I do see some activity, some bees on the side here. Nothing in here. It's all drawn comb. There's a bee there. I think that's all them. That was from the last colony. So I saw some bees in these two frames, so let's pull out the middle and just see what we've got. Looks like they're starting to make repairs and rebuild this side of the comb. Let's not squish anybody today. Yeah, pretty much the same thing. They're just making repairs and getting it ready. Nothing stored up here just yet, which is okay. And the last one here. Oops, forgot that side. There we go. Yeah, it's all just wax. They're repairing at this point, so they're getting ready to store stuff. Probably be a little while longer. Go ahead and put that back together. Remember, we want to make sure that they have enough bee space in between these frames, so you put the joints of them together, and then the end pieces you have a little bit of a gap on both sides. Let's go ahead and take off this box. Should be a queen excluder in here, although I'm not. Oh, there it is. Okay, it is there. These bees were installed the same day as the ones in Raleigh, so I'm expecting to have a little boost in population from the bees that the queen laid, or the eggs that the queen laid since then. I'm hoping to see a lot more as far as activity, bees, than what we've seen in previous videos. So right here, just have a little beetle trap. Should be one on this side as well. Let's see if we can get in here. Looks like they want to try and glue some of that down. There we go. No beetles, but that's okay. It's collecting ants. I'm okay with that. I'm going to put this aside for now. Let's take a peek in here. Now this is our brood chamber, one of two. And like the other hive, we want to start from the second frame in. Let's get my frame stand so that if the queen is on one of these, we don't accidentally lose her. There we go. Okay. And this hive tool is really awesome. It's got a little, so just like the red one that you guys always see, it's got that flat scraping edge. It's also got a little, almost like a toothbrush kind of page, but I use kind of like the downward motion that the other hive tool has, so I can pry the two frames or two sides of the frame apart. But I really like this little hook. It gets underneath the frame. I can see what I'm doing outside of the camera, and it lifts up the frame. But usually that means it takes two hands, one to pry and one to lift. So I'm gonna just sacrifice that right now and just lift. All right. Bunch of bees building some new comb. Looks like they're collecting some nectar. Existing comb. They're storing a lot of pollen. They're starting to put nectar in here. Like there's one or two cells with nectar in here. Right there's the pollen, and just above it is the nectar. And what they'll typically do on a frame, they'll use the corners for the honey and the very top for the honey. And then there's a thin band of pollen, and inside the rest of it is usually all going to be brood. So I'm going to put this back down here on this frame stand. Dig into this next frame. Here they're starting to rebuild some comb that I had culled earlier. Pollen stores, no brood, no eggs that I can see just yet, but they are storing nectar up here, so that's a good sign. And these guys are fairly gentle today, which is really good. We must have a nice strong honey flow going on. More nectar. This is going to be a heavy frame once they're done with it. And they're rebuilding again. I cut comb in that lighter spot just below my thumb and to the left. And you can see here in this corner the original comb. So they're starting to rebuild some of this. I don't see the queen, however. It's okay. It's probably in the box below. That's empty. That's empty. Yeah, there's tons of bees in that first chamber down there. All these are empty frames. They should be building out because the other one had frame. They're just filling out with brood and honey and pollen. So here's one. And that's what I mean. They'll do the corners kind of like that with the band, and then below that capped stuff they'll start putting the pollen, which I don't think they've done here yet. No. Don't see any eggs. They got a little bit of pollen in here, not much though, but I don't see any eggs either. Let's see if I can turn into the sun. No, the queen hasn't been here yet. Let's check this side. Now they do have the honey band, which is good. But nothing else. Okay, so they'll be ready to rock and roll with this soon. Let's put this box back together. Now they are starting to propolize this box. I had cleaned it off at the beginning of January of all the propolis and stuff. Scrape these edges. I scraped down the frames themselves. Scraped down the panels in the back here. All the propolis, and they're starting to rebuild. So that's good to see that. They're finding plenty of tree sap that they're making resins from, or tree resins. Put that back in. And last but not least, actually this was backwards. So what I want to do is push this back. Drop this in here. And then tighten it all up. Okay, so we know the queen's not up here at the top. And I'm going to fix this queen excluder just in case she did move up top and I just miss her. And she doesn't get into the honey super. So we're going to separate the two hive bodies. Those are nice and glued down. Okay. So we're back. I got the second brood box. So this is the blue box that's underneath. Plenty of bees on top, as you can see. And there's the other beetle trap. I don't think they have any beetles, but we'll take that out and just take a quick peek and look for a queen, eggs, and some honey. It's just collecting ants again. Rather collect ants and beetles than not do anything. I'm going to smoke these guys down just a little bit. We've got a nice quiet roar to them, that's good. And the hive frame stand. Alright, so let's go through this hive, make sure we're not grabbing anybody. They are building a lot of burr comb underneath, that's okay. Alright, so I got that frame cleaned up. I did find a couple cells with eggs in it, but I want to keep going a little bit further. Just to see how everything's going in the hive. Because I didn't see a lot of honey yet. This one's almost all pollen. See if I can get the bees to... There we go. So that's all pollen up there. Is just about an entire frame of pollen. That's really cool. No queen on this side. Doesn't look like there's any burr comb. So here's that band. Right near my thumb is a little band of honey. There's a little band of pollen. And then it should be going into the eggs and larvae, but it looks like they're going to be storing more honey in here for now. Still no queen. Got a couple bees doing some dancing. So there's definitely nectar flowing, and they're collecting it. There's one with, let's see if I'm getting it. Yeah, I think that's her right there. Should be one with pollen on her legs. Let's see, there we go. Yeah, let me go ahead and put this one down. Okay. Let's give this a little more smoke. Whoa, something new? Let's see if we get a good shot of this. I can't see my camera as well. That little peanut shaped thing there and close to the center of the screen, that's a queen cup, unless there's an egg in it, and then it's a queen cell. There's a couple of these on this one, so I'm going to go look into these real quick and just see if I can find anything. Well, I did find something, and it looks like there was a queen that took over this colony. This one's not painted, so it's not the same one we had before. So I'm going to have to get some marking pens and mark her again, and that's okay. I'll go ahead and get that taken care of the next video, but she's up here in the corner. Oh, she's actually moving pretty fast. I'm going to put this down just so I don't lose her. But she looks healthy. From the corner here. And put the colony back together, and then what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do all that off camera, what I'm going to do from this point, let's be very careful with this because we've got queens everywhere, well, at least on this frame. If you're putting a frame back together where you found a queen, just be very careful, move very, very slow so you don't pinch her. Kind of just slowly step it in a little bit at a time until you can close it. That one went faster than I wanted, but that's okay. That's together, so now we know she's somewhere in here. And we're going to go ahead and put this next frame in before she jumps ship on the other side. But I'm going to go ahead and assemble this colony all the way back together. I'm going to put these supers back on. And then I'm going to put this on first. I'm going to put my hyperthermia unit back on, get it all ready to go, assemble the hive together, and start treating for mites so that the colony can go ahead and be, well, close to mite free as I can get it for right now. And if you didn't see our last video, we do have it's just a little box I made. It's a little wood frame that holds a lampshade holder with a wire coming out of the box which goes to a power source. In this case, it's the controller, which is currently under the box. And that's set to 108 degrees. If it's hotter than 108 degrees or gets to 108 degrees, it shuts off the light. And that light stays off until it reaches 106, and then it turns back on. So it's going to stay within those 2 degrees for me. And there's going to be an alarm on there, just to, an audible alarm so you can hear it. And this power cable feeds the power from the house over there. So I'm going to go ahead and put that together and treat the bees for the mites, and we'll be done here. It's going to be a couple hours, so I'm not going to put all this on video. But bad news is we lost a queen, it looks like. Good news is they already made a new queen, so I'm not too troubled about it. It's going to slow us down just a little bit, just because they have a new queen that looks like she had just started laying probably in the past, I don't know, maybe last week or so. Best guess scenario right now. I'll have to go back and just look at a couple things and just make sure, but it looks like she's been laying for about a week. Thanks for watching this video from Slightly Buzzed Beeworks. If you have any questions, comments, or would like to see something specific, let us know below. If you liked the video, click on the thumbs up and subscribe to follow us in our beekeeping journey. If you didn't like it, go ahead and give us a thumbs down, but be sure to tell us why.